Thank you for inviting me, I'd like to thank and say hello to all of our friends and neighbors in Latin America, and I appreciate being here, and I hope I can answer your questions. Yes, well, of course, it's plain to see that it's another political ploy by the president. In the United States, the federal government has no jurisdiction over any kind of union between anyone. But first, let's make clear that every dictionary of every language on the planet Earth defines their word for marriage as the union between one man and one woman. In the United States, each of the 50 states issues a marriage license to a couple who wishes to become married, but the license is a privilege, not a right. Just the same way one has a driver's license or a business license or a flyer's license, is the privilege to engage in that practice. Matrimony, by tradition, begins with a religious ritual that's presided over by those persons' particular traditions. So in the U.S. Constitution, what's called the Ninth Amendment says that just because the Constitution doesn't say that you have the freedom of marriage doesn't mean that you cannot be married. So there is no law, it's an illusion. There is no law in the United States that says that two human beings cannot cohabitate underneath the common law. In the licensing law, the reason why couples get issued a license by the state is A, to prevent polygamy and the practice of polygamy, which is illegal in all the 50 states, and also for tax purposes. In other words, so the government knows how much money to take away from you. So there really is no role of the federal government in the holy state of matrimony, nor in the common law practice of a union between two human beings. Yes? No. President Obama is a civil servant who works for the people of the United States. He can try to, he cannot change a word in a dictionary to have a different meaning, and in fact, it will change it. For instance, he can change the meaning of the word horse to mean pig. A horse will still remain a horse. So he cannot change what the word marriage means around the world. So it is strictly a political ploy. This is called pandering. So he's pandering to a particular group to try and get their votes. That's really about it. Whether he's successful at it or not remains to be seen in November. But I want you to understand, when a poll is taken, it is all how it is worded, right? So if the poll is worded, do you believe that it should be illegal? Well, that's an illusion, because there is no law in the United States of America saying that you must be married, you must marry within your race, within your gender, or your opposite gender, or not. There is no law against it. So to say that they want a law to legalize it suggests that there's a law against it. It's not true. There is no law against it. So what two human beings do in the privacy of their own relationship is of no business of the federal government. Do you want the government telling you what kind of relationship you can have or define your relationship for you? Or does a piece of paper issued by the state, which is really to be used for tax purposes or to prevent you from being married to multiple people around the country, define your relationship? It does not. So all President Obama really is doing is trying to hold on to the presidency, and he thinks he can do that by pandering to a particular special interest group. For instance, where's the special interest group for me? I'm a single heterosexual man. Why can I have special rights? I want special rights too. How many of you want special rights? So let's all get together and tell President Obama, I want special rights for single heterosexual Latino men in New York. I can't speak to what actions anyone else takes, but I will tell you that to correct the premise of your question is that there is no illegality of marriage. What a law would do is criminalize something. So for instance, let's give it a for instance. You pass a law as defined however way you want, right? But now a pastor of the Catholic Church, of the Pentecostal Church, of the Jewish Church, of the Hindu Church, of the synagogue, of the mosque, right, refused to perform the magic ritual, the ritual ceremony where they say the magic words, abracadabra, you are married, and refused to do that because it's outside of their traditions, their beliefs, and their religion. Now, the federal government can step in and say that you are a criminal, that you are committing a crime. That's not a crime. The 9th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution says that just because a freedom is not enumerated, it's not enumerated in the Constitution, does not mean that you cannot have it. So it's wrong to continue to say that they want to legalize it, because it is not illegal.